So I figured this would be an interesting place to start because I got this all tore off of here. It took me forever to do because there's like a lot of sewn areas. But I thought it would be kind of interesting for you guys to see how they actually made these pockets on these early cars. The later ones, they cut like a hole inside here, if I remember right, and had fabric on the back side, and then a lot of it was from the back side, so it was pretty easy to make. But these early cars, man, they had them a whole lot more complicated. And of course, they figured out easier ways to do it later and to make them so that you could hold more stuff in them. Because these are just, if you look here, I expected to see a hole in this side, and there's no hole. So here's how they did it. Let's take this off. We'll kind of bring you guys back in. So they take a piece of cloth and put this down, glued it. You can see the X where they glued it. Glue this in place, and then this is where it gets a little complicated. It looks like they put this piece, as I get you guys a little closer, you can see that. So there's like this binder. They cut a hole in this, right? They cut a hole, I guess, like a slit corner, and then cut it bigger. You can kind of see that. They cut it like this, and then they flipped it over. And then on this part, they flipped it over and then sewed this on this little piece of binder on there. So you'd have to cut the sides, cut the top, flip it over, and sew this on like that. So they sewed that to the seam, and you can see it pops out on each end. I suppose they sewed this on at the same time. Looks like only one stitch, which is really weird. So after they did that, then I imagine that they just got this right, set it, and then they sew right through the cardboard on this. And then they use staples as well. So maybe they stapled it in place, got it right, stapled it, picked it over, looked at it, made sure it was in the right place, and then just ran a sewing stitch across there. Then what they did is they had to have the pocket insert, this pre-made, and then they had to have this thing pre-made. And so you make it, when you make a pocket, you make it wider than the opening. So, because it's like curtains. If you make it like so this is like, 1.25 as wide as the opening. And then what they did is they folded this along here and sewed it across there. You can see they sewed it twice. They sewed it right here. It's just to hold that in place by folding it like that. And then sewed across here. And then they made it, and then of course you can put it in with your rubber band on here. I guess they put that through the corner here, put it through the corner there, put it down here, get the pocket in place, and then flip this over and sew through both of these with a cardboard piece on here. I'm sure you guys can see that. It's really weird. They sewed through the side with a cardboard piece, so they probably stapled it again. Stapled it to hold it in place. Got it straight, stapled it. Flipped this over on this side. Got it straight, stapled it. Sewed this seam, so that seam inside out. And then after they're done, let's back you guys up. So then they had this whole thing, this whole upper section was done. When did they put the foam on? I don't know. I guess they probably kind of knew where to put it after they made one. So they had the foam maybe already cut. I'm going to guess. I don't know. And the guys that are wondering, they use that, got a little tiny piece of it, that cotton stuff, this cotton batting. Not readily available anymore. I mean, there's probably a place you can get it, but it's really an outdated material, so that's why they don't. I mean, people go, "Oh, that stuff lasted forever." It's like, dude, you get a brand new car, and the upholstery lasts like 20 years out in the sun. Old cars, no, they lasted maybe 5-10 years at the most. So yeah, the stuff today lasts longer. You know, it's hard to think of it that way, but it does. So anyway. So what they do next? They had another piece of cloth, flipped it over, and then lined it up. It looks like they stapled this, kind of straightened this out with staples first, and then they laid this piece over this other piece here, and then just sewed it across here, and then flipped it down. So then you have a folded seam on this side. And then they sew exposed stitch along the top. Looks like about 5 millimeters exposed stitch up there. So that's how they made these. Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. For me to duplicate that, it's not gonna be fun. Luckily, only the driver's side has a pocket. And then trying to get the stitching straight using the old methods they used they just were good. Those guys were really good. I'm pretty sure I could do it, but it just have to do really slowly. Do one step, put the glue on, lay it out, straighten it, get it really perfect. Leave excess around here so that I got plenty to work with. Then sew the top. I'll have to sew this piece on. Just to do that one door panel, it's going to take me a long time. It's crazy. So if you think about back in the day, the Germans really, I don't know, when they made these cars, they weren't really thinking about saving time. And if you look at the later model bugs, boy, they really are totally different made than these early ones. The early ones, boy, they weren't doing it the easy way, so that's for sure. So anyway, we got a pattern, at least for the door panel. I'll start making those and then bring you guys back in, but I just wanted to show that to you because it's so weird. Why did they make all that stuff folded like that? It seemed like there would be a whole lot easier way to do it, but they hadn't thought of that yet. So anyway, I guess they wanted a pocket here. That was a big deal back then, so. Anyway, we'll bring you back in. Take a look. Thought I'd bring that up first. Talk to you later. All right, I'm going to try LEDs in the back. There's no turn signal, so it shouldn't have a conflict. Just dark and bright. I guess that's bright. Well, that's bright. And then this one's up. This one's dark. That's tail lights, brake lights. Hopefully they'll be bright enough. I'm hoping they'll be brighter than the regular ones, but I don't know. I painted the inside of the housings white too, so that'll help. See, I painted these all white, so hopefully it'll be bright enough. That's brake lights, huh? Oh, that's running lights.
Yeah.
Oh, and then that's brake lights. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh, okay.
That's pretty bright.
That's pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty dim, but that's 6-volt car. If I could get my sewing a little straighter, it'd be better, but anyway, it's fine. Once it gets in there, I'm going to straighten out all this with the black edge that goes around here. You guys see the black edge. It's going to have that little welt around there. I got to sew 2 straight lines down here. A little tricky to do when you're going through the foam. So, through the foam, through the cardboard. Not that bad, but it doesn't want to go the direction you want it to sometimes when it feeds. So, really bad on the other machine. This machine's a lot better, but it is not easy. So I got to run 2 more down there, and then this one's almost done. I just got to do the edge, and then once I get the edge done, I'll pull all this down nice and tight. I just had to do some of it now so that, you know, it won't be too hard to do with the welt on the edge at the same time, trying to, you know, staple through all that, hold it steady and pull it tight. So I'll do some trimming back here, trim a lot of this excess off and all that. Once I get to that point, just kind of put it on there so that I can sew it. If it's not stapled, it won't, it's going to want to walk, the material will move and stuff like that. It already wants to do that, so it's a little tricky. It's rubbery when you're sewing it. It wants to kind of walk along a little bit. So anyway, we're looking pretty good though. Getting close. It's getting hot. Alright, sorry I didn't get to film the sewing. Just didn't have enough space over there right now. I got a little bit out of control, but you know, bound to happen when you're going through something like this. What happens is you catch on things. You know, you have to really watch where this is feeding, and then, you know, if you get caught on a little thing like that and it catches, it turns the sewing machine, little stuff like that. So you got to go nice and slow, but I don't know, maybe I need to gear it down a little bit more, but anyway, it's good enough. Once it gets the chrome on here and the door handles and the black stuff, there's so much going on these that it'll look really nice, so we should be fine. Anyway, we'll keep moving forward. It's a little hot right now. Cool things off a little bit in the garage and get back at it here in a little bit. All right, there's what we got there. Got it, all the trims on it. Comes out a little bit wavy. I don't know. There's a way to do it better. First of all, you got to have an air stapler because you need to just be able to hold it with one hand really good. And when it's on there, looks like that. I mean, I can heat this up a little bit with the heat gun and kind of straighten it out. I'll probably do that a little bit, you know. And then that's probably about it. Then it's going to have a chrome piece on here that I haven't got yet. So once I get those, I'll put them on. I'll check it out. All right, so we're working on the pocket side now. Let's see where to... Just got to figure out where to... Okay, yeah, it's right there. So about right there, I need to trim it. I can use the piece for this isn't really a very good place to do this, but it will work. Make it a little bit bigger than what I need for sure. Trim it right there. So what we're doing in a second bring it back in. All right, so then I'm just going to go ahead and rough in. I need to make extra room to fold this, so that needs to get folded over. This needs to get folded over. Actually, better give myself even more room on the sides. I think my folds, I have cardboard right here. Fold it. I'll show you in a second. Get this nice and straight here. So the inside lines, let's cut that out. So basically, what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to cut like a corner like this and like that, and then that's going to get folded over onto a piece of cardboard, same cardboard as this, and then that's how this area here is formed. So anyway, but I got to get the pocket made first, so I just wanted to have this kind of ready, and then I'll come back into this a little bit later. But I want to have this piece all cut out because I didn't want to cut it out after, because I cut the biggest parts first, you know. Right, so the pocket needs to be about 1.5 times, 1 1/3, I guess is all right. That's about what that is. About 1 1/3 times the size of the hole, because we're going to wrinkle it, right? So when we wrinkle it, then it's going to come down to be fitting in here, and you want it to be able to open. So it has to be 1 1/3, 1 to 1 1/2, depending on how much wrinkle you put in it. The old one was about 1 1/3. So then this part here, the bottom edge, is going to get sewn into the seam that goes across here. It's going to get sewn right into that. The top is going to be folded over with a place for the elastic to go in. Actually, in the bottom, see, I think it does get folded over because it's going to be wrinkled, right? So it has to get to gather it, sew through it. I guess it doesn't really need to be folded over. In fact, I'd rather it not be. So I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to give myself about 2 inches of overlap, and that's about what the old one was. We can just guesstimate that. So then the top is going to fold over like this. Okay. You're going to sew a seam along here. Bottom's going to be hanging down below. This is going to have a seam along here, and then I'm going to take a wire and shove the stuff through. So something like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use stapler, show you. That's going to hold it in place instead of using pins, use a stapler. For this stuff, it works really good. I decided just to hold it because if I staple it, I'm going to see the holes, so I don't want that. So I'm just going to go for it here. I already reversed once. I should have marked this. Darn it. Sewed it pretty straight. Lift up with my knee. Make sure it's all the way at the top. Reverse the stitch. Drop it down. And reverse it a little bit more. Couple stitches. Do a couple by hand. Go all the way up. Pull it out. Reverse stitch. Guess I sewed it pretty straight. It's a little tiny bit crooked, but it's okay. Alright, we just had a little glitchy stuff going on in the beginning, so, but we're just kind of, I just do a little bit, fold it. Try and keep it even. Fold it. Fold it again. Technically, I should know exactly how big my folds are and measure it and all that, but I'm not doing that. There, get one more. Help it out a little bit. There we go. Lift it up. Reverse it, stitch it a couple times just in case. I probably don't need to lock it in right there, so I'm probably going to go the other direction over that. I'm not sure. I don't remember which way I'm doing it right now. Anyway, we got all that done. So now I shove this thing through. Let's look at this on the thing there. First I kind of walked a little bit, but that's all right. That's all underneath. That's going to get sewn over. A whole thing is going to get sewn over again. So let's take a look. All right, so yeah, it's a little bit short, darn it. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. That's what I get for guessing, right? It is just a little bit short. Maybe I should just take out one of these stitches on the end, on each end. That'll probably do it. Do that, take it out, bring it back in. Okay, that worked pretty good. So now I'm going to center it, staple it in place. That's not going to be what really holds it. It's going to have a stitch going through it. Trying not to staple where I'm going to be stitching. I just want it to really hold it good in place. So when should have it a little bit lower. My bad. I'll take all these out. Try again. Pull all these down. So it's going to want to walk over that. If I had my things folded the other way, it would have been a little bit smarter, but sometimes it's a little hard to think ahead. Get rid of all these staples. All right, bring it back in. There's a little bit of thinking to do. Can't think and talk and teach at the same time. All those staples out of there, and the new one's in. My sew line's going to be right where I'm stapled, but not that one. So you go down further. Alright, I got it situated. Now I'm just gonna pull the rubber band through. Alright, we're looking pretty good there on the pane. Now I need to just staple along here for temporary. I'm just going to kind of hold it in place. Go. And that's going to get the other piece put on here. It's really a pain in the neck. I'll show you how to do this. It's not easy. Alright, so I've got this piece on here. Now how this goes is these corners fold over a piece of cardboard, so I got to get the right width and I got to get the right height because I have to sew a piece of welt on here on the top. So I just start cutting a little bit at a time until I think it looks right. The trick is I got to cut back so far, and then I have to cut up at an angle. Kind of hard to explain, but so this got to go back to where it can be folded this way. Not too far, I gotta be just right. Alright, so I gotta switch over sewing machine for a welting foot. And what the welting foot is it has a little groove. You can see that. For the welt, everybody goes, I can't sew straight. Well, you don't have to. The machine will just do it if you have the right equipment on it. Welting foot. Put that on there. Sew the welt on. Well, this thing was a pain in the butt. I had to cut it, do it, try it 3 or 4 times. I figured out I have to cut straight up and then over. It was a bummer. So I just sewed another piece in like that. So, well, anyway, we'll see how it looks when I'm done. It's a real, just too much of a pain. I don't want to do it again, do the whole thing. I just want to finish it, just call it good. Alright, so I just went ahead and redid this one. Anyway, got it all looking pretty good. Phone was dead, or my camera was dead, so I went ahead and I let it charge for a while. And so that's where I'm at now. So I'll put this together. Just putting this edge on it, then it'll be done, and I'll straighten out all this, of course, as I put that edge on. Alright, so I got this thing all done. Had a little bit of battery issues here, so I got that all done. That's that. I got a little tiny bit too much, but it's really hard to do those corners. That looks acceptable to me. It looks good enough. It's in the car. The door handle's on it, and the chrome, which I'm getting tomorrow, so put the chrome on them. Should look pretty good. So the inside looks like. On these, I don't know if I got that on film anywhere, but I use a nail gun with those hook nails. I don't know what they're called. You use a regular pin nailer, and then I just put the hooks in it, and they're like a staple. And I put extra long ones on them, and then I put a piece of metal underneath it while the material's folded under, and just so it doesn't poke through it, and hold that on there, and then hammer them down and beat them over. So now that's how it was done before. It was like a big staple, commercials type stapler, and I don't even know where you get one of those, but then it won't come off here. So it's got like the door panel material underneath here, transitions right here to foam, but you really can't see it. And the door panel material right here actually is stapled on. And then this is just normal staple. You flip it back over this way and staple through the black and the edge. And then this will stay in place. And put a lot of staples on here for the, what's it called? Elastic. Don't think I'll be using that much. Yeah. Anyway, looks like the original one. Looks just like it. So anyway, I got that far. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Alright, that's what it looks like with the chrome on. It's kind of tricky to get on. So I don't know how much of it I can really film. It's very time consuming. Gotta poke the holes out. So for that I use a small poker. These little Harbor Freight ones. Make sure it goes straight in the hole with a tiny bit of an angle, and it's going to be an issue. All the way down. Put my finger between two areas. Then after I do that, then I'll take this larger one, find the same hole, poke it a little bit larger. I just like to use the small one first because it kind of goes through it a little easier. All the way down. Put all the chrome things on. I take and put all these things on there. Each one takes a bit of effort and time. There's 3, got 9. All right, there you go. That'll look nice in there, I think. Well, we're moving forward. I think those look pretty good. I do the back ones. I don't have an ashtray yet for the one in the back. The one ashtray I have is shot. I think I have an ashtray somewhere, but I don't know where. It's going to take me several hours or days or weeks to find. Alright, there you go, guys. Gotta get them straight. You can't see one side to the other, so this is a little off, but it's alright. On the one side it'll look one way, on the other side it'll look the other way. You can't really see both sides at the same time, so that's one of the tricks. So anyway, you guys get to see it, but whenever everything's together, it ends up looking right. That's all the stuff that you think about when you're doing like graphics, upholstery, all that stuff. Alright, let's look at it all together. How's that look? Color looks great. Looks really good with that other one too. It looks similar to the original, kind of a little different, but not much. Alright, I think I'm going to call it on this. I've done, this is hours and days worth of work. It's like a lot of days worth of work just to do the door panels. Several days worth of work I did on the car. I am going to put the hood on just about to that point. The hood is over there, clean. I've got to figure out how to do it. Maybe if I put like something right here, like a box, I kind of put it up on that, like put something on top of that gas tank. Just put it up there, and then I could just put it on there and then reach behind and put the screws in. I don't know, I had a friend here earlier and he had to go and I was not quite ready to do it, so I don't know. Maybe I'll get it on there somehow. That's what I'm thinking, like if I put a box on the gas tank, something big. I'll see if I can find something, maybe we'll put it on.